Well then, it's been a while since I've done one of these, but I've been encouraged recently by a couple of friends that I play with to actually do some guide videos, a little bit more in-depth kind of stuff. And that's a big part of why you're even seeing a video right now. The other part of it is, this weapon is freaking sweet. I have been wanting, as some of you may have also, a good dual pistol, or at least single pistol secondary in Warframe for a little while now, and I have not played this game nearly as long as many of you have. But I have to say, this weapon is pretty darn near perfect. I really wanted to like the twin Grakatas, but the ammo economy and the obscenely long reload on that weapon was a little bit too much for me. I also wanted to like the Akstiletto, but there again, the ammo issues were too much for me to ask for, and yeah, I guess if you're completely rich on polymer, you don't mind burning a bunch of ammo restores in the middle of a mission, but personally, I don't like to stand still. It sort of takes away from the game if I need to put down an ammo restore, so that weapon didn't really do it for me either. And while the Akstiletto Prime is not perfect on ammo, and there are situations where you will run out, typically at higher level, it is much better than the aforementioned weapons. In addition to having a very short reload, much higher base damage, and damn, these things are sexy. Have you seen these? Now, rather than just throw a build at you, which I will at some point give you a build and say, nah, this is the best one, for most situations, especially at higher levels. However, I don't feel like I can do that without actually showing you some of the testing that can be done in the simulacrum. So I'm going to show you as much of that testing as I think you need to see, but without going overboard and just having a 40-minute video of testing and statistical analysis. I will tell you right off the bat that I'm only going to be testing against level 135 heavy gunners. Why is that? That doesn't represent the entire game, that only represents a small portion. While that is true, what we're going off with these weapons is sort of the status chance, and that is sort of a niche of this weapon, being able to remove armor with corrosive procs and make harder enemies easier to take down. The fact is, if you're going up against a different faction that doesn't have Grenier, you honestly don't need me to tell you how to mod this weapon. You're already going to know. You're not going to go as much into status chance. You're going to care about the proper elements and the raw damage. And it's not super obvious, I wouldn't think to most people, exactly how much you need to invest in status chance versus damage. So we're going to look at that here in a second, and the reason we won't be using corrupted bombards is because they have less than half of the health that corrupted heavy gunners do. They have the same armor value, so it's equally important to remove their armor in order to take them down as well. And so any setup that is going to take down a corrupted heavy gunner is also going to do very well against a bombard or a corrupted bombard or any of the other heavy armored enemies in the game. So let's go do just as much testing as we need to see how to build this weapon. Okay, let's go ahead and start where I've seen a lot of people start, with the status chance, and it does have a very high base status chance. Would be at 30% if I didn't have any mods on here. We'll go ahead and throw on 3 dual stat mods. This brings us up to 99.4%. Well, check out what happens when we remove one. It goes down to about 95%. That's not an error. This number represented here, it can be a little bit misleading if you don't know what it is. It is the chance of a single shot from our 40-round magazine to actually give a single status proc. The thing is, even though it doesn't look like we can proc more than once per shot, we have multi-shot, so that is going to allow us to potentially proc more status in a single magazine or in a single shot. So you can actually get more than one status proc per shot. That's why this number can be a little bit deceptive, and that's why. So we'll go ahead and test this. Go body shots first. This enemy has no armor. A little over 2 magazines to get the kill. Once again, no armor. Still above half health though. And we're actually about to run out of Bastille because I don't have the greatest duration ever on it. Didn't quite get the armor on that one. Looks like we did a little more damage overall. So only 2 magazines for that one. That's a good baseline. Let's see what we can do when we get our headshots. About a full magazine. 5 rounds left. So that's all well and good. But really what I want to do here is let's test out what happens when we add more damage, because when we're not getting headshots, we were really lacking the base damage to even take out the heavy gunners, even once their armor was removed. So let's come over here to this one, and I've thrown on a prime heated charge. I've also removed one of the dual stat elemental mods, because even though we're going to be proccing corrosive less, a little bit less often, we are going to have more damage. So let's see what that gets us. Armor's still there, but we did kill a little faster overall. Armor came off later. First magazine did less damage overall, and that time we did a little bit more damage. So this is going better. When we went from here to here, what we were missing was damage. We were fine on status, we just needed more damage. So is there anything else we can do to increase the damage? Well, let's try our primed crit mods. And I'm going to go ahead and spare you a little bit of time here. It's not worth using prime heated charge here. I tried it, tested it out, because your physical damage types are 4 times more likely to proc based on how much damage they do versus your elements in general. The low damage here is going to make us, even though we're getting a decent status chance, we're going to be proccing our physical types, and we're going to be proccing heat more often than corrosive, and it sort of undoes the... I say sort of undoes. It undoes the benefit of trying to go for corrosive procs in general. So prime heated charge, while the damage is nice, and it is nicer at lower level when armor is less of an issue, and this build completely comes out on top. That's the wrong mod, thanks game. We're going to go with this. I'm also not going to show you this build, even though it is higher damage, because I already tested it, and even though we have a lower status chance, we also have higher corrosive. It doesn't matter. This build is worse. Tested a bunch. Just take my word for it. This one's better. So let's try this one out. About half the health left. 19 rounds left in the next magazine. That's a little better than we've been doing. And we're doing over half of their health damage in one magazine. And the armor's going away. 26 rounds left. So we're doing more damage, and we're killing faster with the crit mods. You already know what's about to happen here. We're about to blow the other builds out of the water completely. $12 rounds left. 11 rounds left. Might have overshot a little bit. 14 rounds left. And I can do this all day. It is consistently better to use this build right here. Now granted, I am harking on this a little bit, and I have been a little bit frustrated by other videos that have come out by commentators who have done this much longer, saying, oh, just mod for status, or oh, just do your elements, that's more damage. It's not though. This is more damage. These crit mods increase the damage so much, and I'm not going to math it out for you, but you can look at these statistics and go, okay, about 50% of the time, I'm going to do 4.2 times damage. And then headshots amplify that even further. So, the only exceptions to this I can think of, and this is one actually from personal experience, in using Ember Prime with these various different mod setups, more specifically an Ember with high power strength, she makes these different mod setups actually run a lot closer together, either because of the additional status, removing the armor sooner and helping her do fire damage more quickly, or just having Prime heated charge in general for more damage. So, as I said earlier, The more you know about how to do the mod setup on this weapon to get what you want out of it, the less you're going to need me to tell you which build you need to be using. So I hope you enjoyed the video, but more than that, I hope you learned a little bit more than you knew before you watched. So that's pretty much all I've got this time. If you liked the video, please do like and or subscribe, and I hope to be streaming on Twitch a little more often here very soon. So if you want, you can check out the link in the description. Go on over there and follow me over there. Once again, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.